Hello to myself and everybody else. This is video 49. So far in this video, we're going to continue to look at how to draw people, and we're going to be looking at gesture drawing. So I'll go ahead and put up the pages and stuff here. Okay. So far, really just looking through this real quick because just a decent amount of stuff I'm going to cover and everything for this. Really going off of gesture drawing, what the pages and stuff mentioned was basically the whole thing with gesture drawing is that it's supposed to be faster than armature, as well as it allows us to capture the flow and movement of the person and stuff we're drawing. And really that's the main thing I've read from this and I was supposed to get from it. And if we look at the pictures and everything and stuff here too, like on the first page on page 17 shows a picture of armature on the left, and then on the right shows gesture drawing, where basically with a gesture drawing is basically you're just drawing not really the entire person itself in detail. You're mostly using a lot of flowing lines and everything and stuff like that for like the arms, the spine, the legs, and things like that, just to show like the movement and flow and everything. And if we go to the other page, like page 18 and stuff like that too, it shows the same thing where, again, a comparison of armature and gesture drawing. And basically that, again, gesture drawing is supposed to be done like, supposed to be a way to draw like a form a bit quicker and show the movement and pose and stuff like that of the armature and everything. And then the rest of the pages themselves basically show the steps of it, of like drawing the head, then the shoulders, then we basically draw the spine, the hips, the legs and everything, as well as then after that the arms. And then the next page basically just says to practice this and everything too, just to get it down. And then the next one after that is a level up checklist and everything. Yeah, the main thing, if I have to say about this part within itself, the gesture drawing, this was probably like the most problem I've had with this book so far. Because one of the main problems I had was, again, reading through the book and stuff itself, it's not too hard to really understand what the book's saying. You can read it and be like, okay, I understand what the book's saying. Like if I look at this part around like page 17, where it says like gesture drawing is an even quicker way to convey movement and flow of a pose while still clearly showing how the body is positioned. Things like that. You're like, okay, so it'll be something quicker and everything like that too and all that. Yeah, the other part says gesture drawing isn't about drawing a skeletal structure of the body. It's about capturing the totality of the pose, and pose is one fluid drawing. It says that means you mark the twist of the spine or the outside of the curve of the hips, but you're not thinking about those individual pieces as much as you are trying to capture the energy of the total pose. Like it's things like that you can read and be like, okay, I understood what the word said in the book. I understood the sentence I just read. But when you actually get to it and try it, you'll be like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Capture the flow and movement. How do I do that? Because basically, when I first started with this, I basically just ended up drawing armature again, but just try to do it faster. And looking at the picture references and stuff too in the book, I was like, I'm not doing this correctly at all. Something's off. Well, I knew I wasn't really doing it correctly because I was just drawing armature again, but just a little bit faster. Literally the exact same way. I wasn't like showing the quote unquote rhythm or flow or anything and stuff like that too, which I had no idea really how to do. Because even with the book itself, it's really vague on what to do, because it basically just says you can like show the outline of the hips, or you can show this and that. Like it's not very specific. It's just kind of vague, and and I know there's like no specific rule, but it's like really vague to where if you're like me and you have no experience drawing, you're kind of reading this going, okay, so I still don't fully understand what I need to do, because we practice gesture drawing, so not gesture, we practice armature drawing so much that you're just basically doing that again. So when you get the gesture, you're like, okay, so I'm just doing armature again. But then again, you look at the other pictures and you know you're not doing something right, because it's not capturing the quote unquote rhythm and flow, and you're basically putting the exact same work in you were doing before, and it feels kind of slower than doing armature. So that was definitely the main problems and stuff like that too. So from this, I started doing a whole bunch of research and looking into it, because the book itself really wasn't giving a bunch of information and everything, like 100% clear information, kind of being really vague on it and stuff like that too. And through my research, I found a bunch of videos, but the videos themselves, mostly people would just be using stuff that's later on in this book. They really wouldn't be using like exactly what's in this book. Where a lot of people would use to, and I want to just jump ahead and just show a picture of what's in this book real quick. Basically, people would be using simplified volumes, which is on level 3 and everything here. And specifically, the part in simplified volumes would be like the cylindrical forms and everything, as well as another part in this book I'm trying to see if I can find real quick. Okay, here it is. Yeah, this other part called merging forms, where basically you're taking two shapes and like merging them together to look like a body twist, like make it like limbs or body part twisting or something like that too and all. And most people in videos using stuff like that, but again, where we are right now with armature, we're nowhere close to using that stuff yet, so it can be kind of confusing, especially if somebody's drawing something in really high detail and it just kind of speed up their video a bit. Like that can just throw you off as well, where you're like, okay, this I don't think is the right thing I'm looking for. And other people who kind of just draw stuff as well, but they don't really explain it as much. So really the main thing and stuff too is I started looking at some other books and everything too, including another book I have called The Marvel, like drawing comics the Marvel way and everything. And that kind of gave like a little bit of a better explanation on what gesture drawing is, in which basically after it goes through armature, drawing shapes and different perspectives and everything, and basically breaking the body down into shapes and all that, once you basically like master that stuff, practice it a bunch, the next part talks about gesture drawing, which basically says the whole point of gesture drawing is to basically help you get a pose and stuff down, like an action pose or something like that too, and make it a bit more like, you know, animated or more action packed or something like that, in a way where, since you're used to doing everything, you know, drawing the body, the armature, putting the shapes in, everything like that, this is basically a way for you to just quickly get the form and pose down as a shortcut, because you've been doing it for so long, that instead of having to draw the armature and everything out entirely, you should be able to just like in a few lines get the pose just to see what you're doing, so you can just work from there. It's just a quick way to be like, okay, here's the pose I'm going for, now let me actually draw the armature and the other stuff. Yeah, so far again, just it's kind of still a lot of information and stuff with that too, a lot for gesture drawing and everything, but that's the main thing I found and everything on gesture drawing as well, that one book. Plus, I did find another video that actually went into detail a bit better on what gesture drawing is and how to kind of do it. So far, I'll get to that in a second. Everything I want to go back, I want to look back at the book and everything too, the How to Draw People one, and basically show again in the gesture drawing part. It shows examples of gesture drawings and everything too, like again on page 17 and the one on page 18. Now, basically looking at these two pictures and everything and stuff here, looking at these, you're like, okay, I see an example of it, rhythm and flow, okay, sure. So you go to your picture and everything too that you're trying to draw and everything and stuff before, you draw your armature and stuff based off that and everything, and then you try to gesture drawing, so you're looking at your model, your reference, and then you realize, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing. Because you're looking at the pictures back and forth and go, okay, so what are they doing? Try to figure something out. And basically, I jumped ahead in the book, just read ahead to see, cause I was basically tempted to just skip gesture drawing and just see if it's used anywhere in this book, or in should I keep practicing it. Basically what I found out was this: if I jump later on in this book, and it's like near the end where it's like where basically it's a whole thing of just seeing if there's a not a reference, basically just the whole thing of just like testing if you got everything down, and just kind of like the final test and stuff like that too. See if I can find it. Okay, here we go. So basically, if we jump near the end, like around level 5, putting it all together, basically it's just seeing if we got every part down. So on page 111, it shows part 1, basically start with an armature. So it shows armature the same way we've been doing it the whole time and stuff like that. Then part 2, make a gesture drawing. This is the first instance I saw where I noticed, okay, this is a gesture drawing based on an actual person and not off the armature, which made me realize that the earlier stuff we looked at, that was gesture drawings of armature. So if you're trying to draw yourself based on the pictures you have, a gesture drawing of a person, you'll be completely lost once you realize, okay, so they're drawing a gesture drawing of armature and a gesture drawing of a model looks completely different. That's already step 1, where it's like, okay, so I have to look somewhere else to kind of get a reference and stuff like that too, and everything. As well as 2, just the other matter of you thinking, okay, so I draw an armature first, then do a gesture drawing of the armature, which literally makes no sense, because the whole point is to be able to draw armature of the model without, sorry, I keep switching the words around. Basically be able to draw a gesture of the model without the armature and stuff like that too. So that's the whole thing with that. So it's definitely a matter of just having to do your research and everything and stuff like that as well. So basically, as I said before, the main thing is I found a video and everything that does explain what gesture drawing stuff is way better and everything like that. I'll go and bring this up now. Okay, so basically the video and stuff I found is called Gesture Drawing Lecture by S. Michael Hampton on YouTube. So far this video, as of the time I'm recording, is 5 years old and everything. I'm not going to play it and stuff too. I'll just put a link to it in the description and all that, so people can just like go there themselves, or specifically me, so when I watch this again in the future. But basically the whole thing with that is this person does actually go into detail and everything too on what gesture drawing is to them and how they draw their gesture drawings and everything like that as well. Specifically, if you want to see like an example of them drawing a gesture drawing of a model, so basically around 25 minutes in, and yeah, around 25 minutes in, they basically start drawing like a drawing from a model and everything too, and you can basically see what they're doing and why, and they explain that and everything and stuff as well. So basically, again, I'll try to like replicate that too and everything, and just like see what I can do and what I kind of figured out from like watching and trying this stuff. But before I go ahead and do that and everything too, I'm going to go ahead and go into Krita and stuff and see something real quick. Alright, so basically we're here in Krita, and so far the whole time while I was doing this, I've been practicing drawing like a bunch of armature and everything, since I couldn't figure out the gesture stuff. And basically I kind of figured some stuff out with the armature that has genuinely helped me a bit more with being able to do this. So let me go ahead and do this real quick. Basically I just draw the head and everything and stuff first. Okay, I'm going to put the line and stuff here too for all this as well. Okay, so basically and everything and stuff like that too, what I figured out was this. Before, when I would draw the neck, I would treat the neck as if it's, and I have no idea if you can see my mouse and everything and stuff too, it gets weird with this, but basically I end up trying to draw like the entire neck and everything here too. The line I'll use for that, I'll treat it as the entire thing, but not as the spine. Basically I learned when I was like doing this and everything too, when I draw the neck, this line, I should do it as the spine and stuff itself here, rather than treating it as the full neck like an actual stick figure. Then the next thing I end up doing too is, when it comes to the line and stuff for the torso and everything itself, I was again using it like a stick figure where I was treating the line as the entire body, where in reality I should treat the line itself as the spine, so I can at least, so basically that I can use it and bend it more and kind of show stuff off a bit better, so it look like, see if I get my wording stuff right. So basically I can make it look more energetic instead of just treating it as the body itself is directly the spine. So if I just go ahead and do it like this and everything too with this one itself. Oh, and another thing, I know the book and stuff mentioned as well, use the head and everything as a reference to count like how long the torso, how long the legs, how long the arms and stuff are and everything like that as well. So far I haven't been doing that. I finally started to, because again I was more worried about other stuff when I was drawing. Now that I feel more confident with it, I'm actually starting to like utilize some of the information from earlier. I'm actually using the head and everything to get like a ballpark figure of the body. So with this, I'll go like, this is the head and stuff there. I mean, obviously, but basically from starting here, I go like, okay, so just like around one head, round two, round three. So basically around like 3 heads for the torso. So kind of eyeball it and stuff with that. And then I'll go, I also leave a space and stuff too for the neck and everything like that as well. So I can put the shoulders and stuff. But based from that, I'll go, okay, so around 1 head, 2, round 3. Just kind of eyeball it and just kind of to see and everything, stuff like that too. Then with the hips, again, you can still use the head measurement, but I still kind of just like eyeball it a little bit, just kind of, wait a minute. Okay, just kind of eyeballed it a little bit. And then again, I just draw like the circles and stuff too for the joints and everything like that as well. Just kind of help me like be able to get the proportions and everything and stuff like that too, so stuff doesn't like merge together. Then we start with the leg that's in the front. So again with this, again, so using the head just like a ballpark figure that, start like here for the leg. So I'll say that's like 1, 2, about like 2 for the thigh and everything and stuff like that too and all. So basically I try to count that out and everything too. And even with the head, I'm basing it more on the head that I drew, not exactly the one here. Or I should probably explain it better. Basically, the model reference, I'm using the head to basically get like again, an estimate of like the length of the leg, the arms, things like that. And then in my drawing, I take into consideration of the size of the head that I drew, and then I'm still like using that size to kind of count for how long it should be. So the head and stuff I drew and stuff like up here and everything, I'm using this as the main reference for how long it should be. So this will be like 2 head lengths of the head that I drew up here. So basically with this 2, like, okay, so around 1, around 2 and stuff 2 around here. So then draw the joint and everything for that. Same thing for the other one, just eyeballing is like 2 as well again. So 1, around 2. Draw the joint again, and then from there I just put like the foot and everything and stuff like that too and all. I kind of drew it on the joint itself, but still. And then the other leg, same thing, looking at that, about like, again, about like 2, so 1, kind of the 2 range around here, so something like that. Same thing with the other part too, about like 2 as well, so 1, 2. Then from there I just draw the foot. Yeah, I do kind of a problem like drawing the hands and feet. I'm still not the best at that, but just somewhere around there. Then the arms and everything, I still do the same thing. Draw the shoulders and stuff, using the picture a little bit as a reference and things like that. Circles and everything stuff too for those separate joints. And let me erase this arrow. So that and everything too, I just draw the arm and everything. So that's about like, I want to say a head and a half maybe. So it should go around here. So a head and a half, so around there. And then the other part, again, same thing, like a head and a half. So that. And then I'll just put in the hand. Like I said again, I'm not good at really drawing the hands and feet and everything, but just kind of put a line just to represent that. Then the other one, that is about like, again, same thing, like a head and a half. So half. And then the other one, same thing, about like a head and a half. So, and then the hand and stuff going out. Yeah, but basically this is it and stuff right here, where again, looking at it comparison wise and everything, again, it doesn't really look too bad, too far off and everything and stuff. I feel like at least got better with the proportion, at least a little bit with this. Again, the neck maybe could use a little bit more work as well, but beyond that, yeah, the neck and maybe like, again, the arm proportion, I probably could have been a little bit better with that. But again, I still say I at least got better and I at least got a bit more consistent than I did with the other one and stuff at the very least. So at least looks a bit similar and stuff like that too as well. So with that, the main thing is this. The next thing stuff too we're going to go into is the gesture part of it. And the gesture stuff I'm going to do, I'm basically basing it off that one video that I was talking about before, the one by Michael and everything. So that and everything. Let me just move this over and we just give it a shot real quick. So yeah, I got to do some stuff on this page before, so I can't do it 100% on here exactly next to it. Be a little bit lower, but I can move in a second. Alright. So basically with this, again, we just start with kind of drawing the head and everything like that and stuff as well. So we can just have like a reference and stuff too on where something's going to be. Being a bit sloppy and stuff drawing this, but yeah, it's a rough sketch. That's the whole point. Just nobody's going to see it. Just a rough sketch. Okay. Then again, I draw the spine and everything and stuff for that too. It's not a draw like this. Alright. So then basically the whole thing with gesture drawing is we're not really going to draw like straight lines and things like this, because we're trying to capture like movement and flow, or at least get the illusion of that. So a lot of our lines will be kind of like linking a bit like this. Again, the guy in the video does go over a reason why, because basically like with this, instead of like closing stuff off, it gives you kind of the illusion of flow, because your eyes will just kind of follow down the line rather than just immediately closing stuff off. So with that, basically we're going to kind of try to make the figure out of like a bunch of lines that don't fully like close off. Like we're not going to make circles and things like that. We're just going to use a lot of like various lines in the shape of like an I, an S, or a C, or mostly an S and a C, but still. Okay, so basically with this, we start off with like the spine. So looking at this, the spine curves forward and everything there, and then probably stops around, well, really around here, but still. Alright, so the spine stuff around here and everything too. So basically what we're going to do is this. Still going off like the size and everything too, where it's like around 4. So basically around here, 1, 2, 3, and stuff like that, 2 and everything. Then the other line we're going to use is going to be based on the rib cage, the bones of it itself. Because every line we do, we're really going to try basically do it based off the bones, really not the outline of the person itself. So with that, I'm just like, we did the spine, then we do the rib cage. It's going to be kind of close, but kind of do it like this, just kind of a thing like that. Then from there, the back, and like I said again, I said I really wouldn't do the outline, but again, just something kind of as a base wise, just the bottom part, just the curve of the hips and everything and stuff here. Then from there we go with the leg and everything. So we're not going to use straight lines. We're trying to keep everything curved and stuff a bit too, because the bones and legs don't exactly go 100% straight, they do curve. So basically with this and everything stuff too in the thigh, something like this. And then let me move it down a bit. Whoop. Alright, so far with that and everything stuff too with the leg, and then the other leg we'll try to wrap it around here so it can go down like this. And from there, like I said, we'll try the back leg and everything and stuff as well. So basically kind of curve it and stuff a bit. And then the other leg, curve it and stuff as well. Again, I'll just, with the feet and stuff like that too, just try doing like a triangle and stuff like that too, and all, just something like that. And same thing here, just so that, just to put something there. Okay, and then we move up to the arms, where I'll try doing this. So again, the shoulder, something like this. The arm we bring up to around here. The other arm, try just curving it around here, kind of more like this. And same thing with the other arm stuff too. The shoulder curve down, and then we just try curving the other arm and stuff like that too down. The other one and stuff, curve it around it to other point. Basically, again, like, this really does not look that good at all. And everything, like, this is basically what I'll be getting from like a gesture drawing when I do it. It really doesn't look good at all. And that's kind of the whole thing with it, where I'm like, I don't fully 100% get the thing with gestures too much. Because in reality, for me, it's like, which one kind of looks better and stuff like that too. Let me see if I can move these down real quick. Okay, so basically, again, just with this, again, like the first one, the armature one, looking at this picture and everything and stuff too, I'm like, this captures the pose and stuff a bit better. It took me a second, but again, with enough practice, I get it down like pretty quickly and everything and stuff as well. And then with a gesture drawing, again, because I'm just not really good at it, I'm looking at that and I'm like, I'm not really getting too much from this. Like, maybe you can simulate movement or something, but to me, I'm like, I'd rather just stick with the armature and everything. Like, I understand the point of gesture drawing. The whole point of that is basically to be able to capture the form and pose of someone quickly. So, like, if you're in public with a sketchbook, you can draw someone, like, doing something rather than asking them to like pause and pose and everything and stuff like that too. But for somebody like me who has the problem of basically kind of drawing a bit too fast and needing to take their time more, I'm definitely saying I probably should stick more with armature than with gesture drawing. Again, maybe I'm just not fully understanding the whole thing with that. I know I'm not, because just looking at how this is here and everything too, it does not look good. So I definitely am missing a lot of stuff. But again, I'd rather just stick more with the armature than just moving on to gesture. So for me personally, I am going to skip gesture drawing like I tried. I'm going to skip it. But real quick, let me move up real quick and stuff with this. Cause like I said, like with the top stuff here, this is like other stuff I tried too, exact same picture. The armature and stuff too, again, I kind of messed up the length of the arms and legs. And then the gesture drawing to the side, again, it doesn't look too bad, but as you saw, it's like hard for me to really replicate again for some reason. And again, like I said, the other gesture drawings I did, they don't look too bad, but it's still a thing where I'm like, I'd rather just like quickly do an armature, get the generalization of the pose and stuff down, then from there I can just like tweak it and just do whatever I need to do. Just next to it, just draw it again and just do whatever I want to and stuff like that too and all. So I'd rather just stick with the armature and everything and stuff like that as well, and just like move on to other stuff. So yeah, but another thing and stuff too, but first, really this is everything and stuff too with the part in gesture drawing covered in this book, how to draw people and stuff like that too. This is really all the gesture stuff there is for that, basically just the stuff in the book that was in the video earlier, and then just basically practice it and things like that. so far, something I want to do with this book, since the gesture drawing itself kind of took so long for me, and it took a lot of research, a lot of information and stuff too, wasn't in this book readily available. And because of that, I kind of looked into other books and stuff like that too that I had laying around, so things like that. The reason I'm bringing that up is because with this book, How to Draw People, I'm probably just going to work to a set degree and then just kind of stop and move on to another book. Because something in this book specifically, I'm probably going to work all the way up to work through level 3 simplified volumes, and then stop right before level 4 major anatomy and stuff like that and putting it together. Because again, every video and stuff I looked up and everything everybody else is doing basically involved simplified volumes, which is using shapes, merging them together, breaking the body down to shapes and stuff too, and things like that. And from one of the other books and stuff like that too that I also had laying around was like The Marvel Way, and that book, it has gesture drawing in it as well, but later after mastering a bunch of other stuff. So basically, and really with The Marvel Way, I kind of like how that book kind of covered a bit better and stuff as well too. So basically, how this book is going to be covered is like this. We already got through armature, and literally the next step is level 2, simplified skeletons. We'll finally be moving on to level 2. The thing with that is, some of the stuff in here kind of looks way more complicated. Like, some things seem fine, like, again, drawing the head and neck, basically showing us how to draw, like, a better version of, like, the head and neck we've been drawing before. And then the next page, drawing, like, the rib cage and the spine, which basically just showing us how to draw, again, a circle and stuff for the ribs and everything and stuff, instead of just drawing the spine and moving on to the hips. We'll actually be drawing the circle for the spine and stuff as well, which will be good because in The Marvel Way, they, with their armature, already use that, so that's something that will be helping me out when I move over to that book. As well as drawing, it says the cube, and basically using that for the lower body, but basically we also can use a circle for that as well, because other videos I've seen, and same thing with The Marvel Way, they use a oval for it, so there's that. You can basically use whatever shape you want and stuff too, just the book saying specifically use a cube for some reason. And then, like I said, it covers other things too, like, the lower body, the feet, the shoulders, basically like the shoulder blades and everything stuff as well, the forearms, the hands, things like that as well. It's just the thing is with it is it does kind of make you have to draw like pretty detailed stuff right after we kind of got done drawing like a stick figure and everything and stuff like that as well. So it seems like it'll be a bit more complicated and stuff like that too. And then after that, we go into level 3, which is simplified volumes, which basically includes drawing shapes and then merging them together to basically look like the body's twisting or just as one piece and stuff itself. And basically that's all the information and stuff too that's really the most useful that I can see, because the major anatomy, that one kind of has like a huge leap where basically I have to like do way more detailed stuff and everything like that too. There is some interesting information in there too, like drawing the eyes, the mouth, the nose, things like that and stuff, but again, I might hold off on doing that, and instead we just move on to The Marvel Way, or what it was called, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way and everything. And with that, basically looking at the contents, basically we'll probably work with this book all the way to chapter 8 in that one, because basically once we get through level 3 and everything in the other book, then we can start with the Marvel one and stuff, and everything from chapters 1 to 8 should be review, as well as just giving us more information on just like different techniques and making things a bit like different and everything, stuff like that. So basically that was just the main thing I wanted to mention and stuff too, just basically to summarize it and stuff, because I know I'm like the only one still watching this. Basically to summarize it, gesture drawing with this book, something I'm kind of going to skip and everything and stuff like that too. I might come back to it in the future, but for now, just skipping it, because even then the rest of the book doesn't use gesture drawing. It only really uses armature. So just perfect armature, move on to the simplified skeletons, if there's any piece in the book that I necessarily can't get down or I can't really use 100%, I can just like try it, move on, just explain it, just see what I can do. Then when we get to simplified volumes, again, get information that we can, stuff we can't, we just move past. Then we move on to the Marvel way, where with that, it acts as review and just giving us more information for stuff. So, basically, that's the whole thing and stuff with that. Just really gesture drawing in this, really this whole section with gesture drawing made me have to do a lot of research and a lot of other stuff. Nothing's wrong with that. It just, again, it just kind of showed me that the book itself, there's information really being left off and other stuff that could have been explained better or maybe explained in a different order. So yeah, like just it's the main thing with that too. I just have to be on the lookout with this book. Just something doesn't make sense. Do research, put other context and stuff in, and all that as well. So there's that. But yeah, so basically again, that's the whole thing and stuff with this too. Just again, I recommend watching the video. I got linked down to the other guy. That video again, really useful and stuff, and they have a lot of other videos and stuff too. But if you're like me, if you're like me and you want to stick with this one book, or not even just one book, you just want to like kind of follow along with me still, the main thing of like that is, again, just skip gesture drawing, keep working on armature, and then we just work on the next parts. Then from there we move on to the other book where we will still be working with armature and everything. And even then when we start getting into like poses and everything and stuff too, like dynamic poses and everything, they use something called the line of action, which is basically a kind of simpler way to just like come up with more energetic poses and everything without having to do gesture drawing or a bunch of other stuff. But it's just like a simple line or maybe two that just makes you have to be a bit more creative. But again, I'm kind of just going into stuff that will be covered later on in other videos. So basically with this and all that, that was the main thing I just wanted to cover. So myself and everybody else, see you in the next one.